recording. Start streaming. Boom. Alrighty, let's make sure the stream is lay visible.
Yep. Let me check that delicious notification bell.
Says we're streaming, says we've got excellent connection. I can see the shit.
I can't quite see anything yet. Let me actually go to your channel. That should help. There we go. Here you are.
Alright.
Perfect. Brilliant. Absolutely beautiful.
I'm so glad that we've actually kept up with this. We got to make sure we don't lose steam before the season ends. We got to see this through to the end.
Yeah, no, it was almost bad there. There was a slight hiatus. There was no time where I was awake and also had an empty house to just shout into. I think it was almost real bad.
But nah, we doing this. All right, so. There's 2 concurrent viewers to should we wait till anyone else gets in, or should we just...
Yeah, sure. Let's tag the people in the server. Let's get our tweets out. Let's actually notify the people.
Good idea. Very good idea. Can you guys say hello to me? Hello, Matt. We love you too.
You know what? We gotta show Matt our giant appreciation and how much we truly adore him. Matt, congratulations on being the first viewer and first person to comment.
Actually, no, Schick said first before him.
Who? Now let me just type this bad boy up.
Me too, just doing my tweet. Alright, the tweet is...
Yes, I'm fully aware that I'm adding everyone, Discord. Fuck off, just let me do it.
God, to be fair, it's our old fucking dead server. No one's seeing these ads, so it's fine.
That's not true. Ray might come.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Someone.
Pasted the link in the Discord. Why is it 1 the title of the last episode and 2 the thumbnail of the last episode? I changed those fucking ages ago.
Yeah, no, look, we have analyzed piss. It's right here in the title. You can all see it, right?
Exactly. Oh. Head back to the VCs, the Discord overlays fine. There we go. Alrighty, shall we just go right on ahead and jump in? It's always the people watching after the fact that are, watching the most anyway, so...
I mean, yeah. So...
Oh, the joys of being a small YouTuber.
I mean, listen, it says we have 1 viewer.
And that 1 viewer is Matt.
I'm one of the people watching.
Oh, it's not even Matt. Oh
God.
Oh.
Wait, that means... Do you think Schick got angry? Do you think he left?
Nah, he probably left ages ago because, he said first when I'd literally just clicked go live. I hadn't even started broadcasting yet. That was a while ago. He's probably not even in the thing now. Oh, no, look, in the chat, Matt says he's...
Yeah, Matt's here. Maybe I just don't count. Maybe YouTube knows that I'm here, so it's nah, you're not a viewer. Get out of here. We love you too, Matt. Always have. You're great.
Of course. But yeah, it's always the viewers after the fact who bring in the most numbers, so we may as well just jump right in.
Yeah, let's just... Alright, what are we analyzing first? The piss or the Rick?
Well, we gotta do some semblance of an intro first. Hello
very
watching.
well.
Hello to all watching after we've already streamed. It's very nice to have you here in the future that we are currently unaware of.
Thank you, Matt.
We're here to talk about the next 2 episodes of Rick and Morty, full Meta JackRick and analyze piss. I'm aware that episode 9 is also out, but we'll get to that later in the week because 3 episodes for a stream is just kind of a lot. And also, just letting everyone know, I've released my review of Power of the Doctor, and because of copyright bullshit from the BBC, it's not doing so hot, so... If you'd like to go on ahead and check that out, feel free. It is up on my channel.
Please, he needs the views. Boost his algorithmic juices.
Well, in that case, not just views, likes and comments as well. They also help a lot.
I watched the entire video despite not actually being there, and I didn't even watch it. I literally just let it play to give him the watch time.
Well, yeah, because like we've not reached that point in your new Who watch through. Like, it would be spoilers. So
I'm just not there yet. Although you did show me the Rasputin scene, the rah Rasputin scene specifically, and I can already tell from that scene that it was a 10 out of 10 experience.
of course, of course, of course. Anyways, we'll start with episode 7 as per usual, full Meta JackRick, and from what from what you said, well, I say you, what we said before the stream, there seems like there's not actually going to be a lot to say. So shall I say my thoughts first?
Go ahead. I give me time to think of something to say because I was just left dumbfounded and silent. Like it wasn't even in awe that I was speechless. I just didn't know what to say.
Right. So obviously this episode is like heavily playing into like the meta stuff. It seems like oddly enough a meta commentary on the meta commentary in Rick and Morty. I have a feeling they've heard a lot of people's criticisms of saying that it's got like too much in recent years, although part of me is also doubtful of that because like I mean, we know they're working on season 6 back when they were still working on like season 4. Like they're doing these things like ages in advance now, so I'm not even entirely sure if that's true. But in terms of the actual episode, like obviously in the moment it's a fun ride that like does hook you in and you almost can't look away because like you say you're dumbfounded. But looking back on it after the fact and the more that I think about it, I'm kind of disappointed by how the episode ended up being in terms of like how like where it actually went with it. Like the highlight for me was definitely the cold open with Rick and Morty flying through the title sequence and everything. But beyond that, it's like obviously it's trying to be meta commentary on meta-ness, but it didn't really feel like it was actually saying anything with it. It seemed like it was more just going, God, look how meta we're being. You know, it didn't feel like it was actually making any kind of point, at least from me on first viewing, I don't think.
I like retcon.
I mean, yeah, like that's something I can say at least. Like the actual the superheroes whose powers are all like narrative stuff, like narrative devices and stuff. They were fun. They were a fun concept, but that's kind of what I'm saying though. They don't really do all that much. They have kind of the one fight scene and then they're disposed of very quickly. It felt like the episode just going, oh, look at this cool like meta concept we've come up with, and then they were done with that. Onto the next thing.
I find it kind of weird that the continuity error one and retcon are both like separate entities despite basically being the same thing, with one just being a lot more jarring.
I mean, yeah, one's like I'm drawing a blank. I can't even remember what each of the individual things were. That's the thing. This episode just threw things at you one after another, and it's like, yeah, on paper, conceptually, they're cool, but it doesn't really take them anywhere. I've seen people describe the original Story Train episode as not really saying anything with its meta-ness, but it at least like it had its core concept and it ran with it to its full potential, I think. Whereas this, it did the exact opposite. It just threw concept after concept at you and didn't really run with any of them.
Story Train was great. Story Train was really funny.
That's another thing. I didn't really think I was laughing all that much throughout this episode. I think what this episode was trying to do really was to just kind of sweep you off your feet and leaving you dumbfounded by what you saw. And I mean, it achieved that. But again,
well, they were trying to say something. They were trying to say something about where the show was going, and like I guess the show's age, like how meta they would like to be, but also like how they're trying to walk the line, and really just that they're trying their best. It was like an apology from the writers, but an apology in the way that it was more of a, look, get off my dick, I'm trying my best here, man. Like, it was the writers telling us what they want to do with their show, but not what, like, that was really just it, that they're trying. And I feel like you can see a lot of that and feel a lot of that in their writer character.
Well, it has kind of similar vibes to like a lot of what people's issues were with this, with the season 5 finale of the whole like being too meta about the whole crybaby backstory thing, and Rick being like, yeah, God, we're doing it, calm down. It's like, okay, you want to do these cool things and cool concepts with your show, that's really cool, so why don't you just do them rather than talking about doing them, you know?
Well, I feel like that was part of it, where it's like where Rick was like, "Oh my god, stop saying classic adventures. Like that doesn't even mean anything. Like it's just an abstract idea of what people want out of the show, when in reality, like they're the only ones who have been saying that, but they've also been saying that almost as a response. Like I feel like Rick constantly saying we're just going to do classic Rick and Morty adventures, and then Rick jumping straight to, "Oh my god, stop saying that," is kind of the writer's way of telling us, "Listen, man, we don't know how to capture that magic. We're just going to keep trying to write well."
Yeah, and it's really bizarre. It's so bizarre that, like, rather than talking about an episode and, like, you know, its plot and its characters and, like, its like progression of those things and all that sort of stuff, rather than talking about that, we're talking about, like, because the show's forced our hand to do this with this episode, talking about the state of the show and what the writers are trying to achieve. And, like, that's why I think this is such a confusing episode to talk about, and why our segment on it's probably going to be really short compared to the next one.
Well, it's like it has the same energy as this trend in the show Teen Titans Go, where like when Teen Titans Go first started airing, it would like there was this huge backlash because, oh god, it's not OG Teen Titans, like you're just using these characters and this IP and basically ruining it. And then like Teen Titans Go just kind of kept publishing episodes until eventually they started making whole episodes as a response to that backlash. And it's really just this passive aggressive, like, "Listen, man, fuck you. We're going to keep doing it because that's what we do." It's just this response. But the problem with that is, who are you responding to? Because the people who don't like the show aren't watching the show right now. And the people who do like the show at this point aren't going to get it. So you have this situation where, like, we're watching this episode of Rick and Morty that's literally just a meta commentary about where the writers think they are right now and where the audience wants them to be. And, like, y'all could have just done an interview and we would have gotten this information. Like, this, don't get me wrong, this isn't to say that they shouldn't have made the episode, because it is fundamentally a good episode with good ideas that did keep me entertained during it. Like it did its job as a meta commentary, but it's also like, what the fuck are you saying? Especially when the writer subplot had me both like awestruck in like the level of meta that they were going for, and also had me just rolling my eyes, like which writer is this supposed to be, and what is the thesis statement of this entire plot? Yeah, and also it kind of just dropped the entire retcon arc to do that when they jumped straight to old man arc.
Yeah, it's
like
so
the episode was all over the place.
Exactly. Like, the whole thing with the writer is also a really interesting point, because it again just brings up more, like, what are you trying to say? Like, you said it does its job as a meta commentary, but if we also don't know what the fuck it's trying to talk about, then did it really do its job as a meta commentary?
I mean, yes, because there are messages that we like fully, like, we can comprehend. Like I feel like I got at least half of what the show was throwing at us. Also, I'm sorry, my heater is still on. That's probably like really annoying. Let me just, there we go.
Oh, I couldn't hear it, to be honest.
Oh, thank God. But that's just, the audio quality must be protected above all else.
Of course.
Like, you can understand half of it. You can understand half of what they're trying to say. Also, welcome back, Matt. Like, we can see that it's a pseudo, like, apology / like, we're trying our best because Rick has that response to, "Oh, you should do classic adventures, season 1 style." And you can also see that, like, there is some semblance of, oh, what the fuck did Matt just send? I'm not even going to look at it. There is some semblance of, like, we're gonna try. I feel like it's a goodbye. It's a goodbye and an acknowledgement that there was a mistake with the season 5 finale. It's like, okay, we're just gonna get all of this meta shit out of the way in one episode, and during the episode, we're gonna talk about how we're losing credibility by doing meta shit. And at that point, that's basically acknowledging that going too meta is very much a mistake, which seems like a response to the criticism of the season 5 finale. Right?
Yeah.
Like that checks out, right? I'm not going crazy.
But again, like I say, like the timeline's all off. Like, wouldn't this episode have been in some level of production before the season 5 finale had even aired?
Maybe, but that doesn't mean that the writing and the concept might have been in some level of production. That doesn't mean we would have gotten this episode exactly.
True, true. That's fair.
Like fucking just think back to the original Story Train episode. They were able to work in a reference to COVID in there.
Ah, that's true. That is true. You know what? Yeah, fair cop, fair cop. I'll cop to that. The thing is, though, about like all these messages and like, yes, I understand the message of like what the surface level message is on its surface for this episode. But the problem with like Rick and Morty, a lot of the time I find is in its current state, is that it's very easy for messages to get confused because of the amount of time the writers will say one thing about the show and then just go right on ahead and do the opposite. Like how many times, like as well as the we're gonna do classic Rick and Morty adventures like in the old days. How like just like that, how many times have we also had Rick and Morty going like, no, we're not doing this stupid serialized shit. We're gonna keep it episodic, only for them to then turn around and then do a serialized story. Like the season 5 finale is another example of that. So like it I mean obviously this will be heavily dependent on what comes out of the show in the future, but because of that track record I'm kind of just sitting here like, okay, well, are you gonna like carry on being meta, stop being meta, like retract the meta-ness a little bit? Like what's the end game here? What's the goal?
I think the end game is we're gonna try and hit that sweet spot that makes the show actually good, and like I feel like they're trying to just be self-aware on some level about the fact that the writers have dropped the ball a couple times, specifically with this writing trope.
Right.
And to talk about like what you just brought up about like Rick and Morty being inconsistent in its goals and its, dare I say it, motivation.
Nice.
I don't think they're having a fucking identity crisis because they're trying to please everyone and different people want different things out of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's probably like what it's kind of going for. Like, I mean, you already brought this up. It's like they've been struggling to try and please as many people as possible as of late. So they're kind of just going, you know what, fuck it, we're kind of just gonna do our own creative thing. And like, if anything, that's good. I have a feeling that like I mean, when we talk about the next episode, I think that'll be enough proof of that. That when they just do what they want, then like obviously every now and again we can get complete and utter shit, like the middle of season 5 I
Yeah.
think is a good example of that, but we can also get like some new modern classics. There's been plenty of them dotted around, so like I'm all for that. I just don't see why we needed this in order for that to become like concrete, you
Well,
know?
I really do agree because Rick and Morty is at its best when the story and the idea that the writers have are given room to breathe, and the focus is more on telling a story than meeting some kind of quota that they think the fans have for them. Case in point, analyze piss.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I just had a thought. If we really are supposed, if this episode really is supposed to be like meta overload, which I mean, it very clearly is, then you could
Yeah.
take it even more meta than that and decide that, well, it being insanely messy and overstuffed and like not and nothing being run with is the entire point. Maybe like the entire point is that
Is that they're trying to do everything they think the fans want, and as a result, they're not doing anything that anyone wants,
is
which
that
is hence why a hyped up character like Retcon got retconned out of existence the moment the old man showed up.
Yeah, and like because of all the meta shit getting forced in, that like nothing else is allowed room to breathe or be taken seriously or anything. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe we've just completely played into the episode's hand, like completely.
It was me, Kirky. I wrote the meta episode for this exact purpose.
Like maybe it's just a complete 5D chess move, and if again that is the point, it's fine. It just didn't make for the most like groundbreaking and phenomenal episode of Rick and Morty that there's ever been. It came for one that just kind of washes over you, kind of leaves you dumbfounded, and then you don't really find yourself with that much to think about it with afterwards, really.
The writers were trying to play five-dimensional chess with multiverse time travel, but as a result, it looked like they were trying to play Go, but were instead just playing normal-ass checkers.
Yeah. And like here's the thing, like we've talked about this plenty of times. We both know that you and me love the shit out of the original Story Train episode. but for the reasons that we've detailed, that original like flavor and magic that episode had is just not here. And again, maybe that's like the entire point, but it just didn't make for a great episode of Rick and Morty. Like, we've talked about how we'd rank the episodes in the season so far. This one would definitely, well, say definitely, maybe go above Rick and Morty Well Lived, which is me at the bottom. But like, I don't think I could in all good conscience put it any higher than that, just because it had some cool concepts, when pretty much all the other episodes executed their concepts far better than this.
Yeah, like, and even the only way this episode really works, where it is playing 5-dimensional chess with multiverse time travel, is mostly headcanon on our part. We can't give that to the episode. That's just us trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, and I mean, even so, like, it sounds cool, like, when people talk about it on paper, like, an episode that's really muddled and kind of junk on purpose. But then, like, that still doesn't change the fact that the episode's kind of junk.
Well, that's basically what the Story Train episode was, but at least the Story Train episode used it as an excuse to do a bunch of cool shit, and it was funny and really unironically epic.
Yeah,
like,
just super well written, and again, like I say, the concept that it had, it ran with it and like pushed it to its full potential, whereas this just didn't do any of that.
Morty, did you not listen to anything I said? Go buy me another one. Ah, damn, he's gone. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Zarikar podcast, the podcast where I try to enter. Ah, damn it, you're back.
So, yeah, I'm back. You know what? I'm intrigued. You know,
the Zarikar podcast where I try to entertain you while Gurgi is gone. Raymag, how are you doing today, my friend?
I mean, yeah,
you are now the Zarikar podcast.
We can peep chat, I guess. What did he say? In my opinion, I think if JR, I'm assuming Justin Roiland would end that show if his career wouldn't take a hit. You know what? To be honest, I can see that. I can see that. And then he said, I don't think Rick and Morty will last forever like Family Guy or The Simpsons, or even stay as long around like Futurama. Well, we're due to go up to at least season 10. Whether or not it will become a thing after that is anybody's guess. I will say people have said that about a great many shows, and like that's the thing. Even the executives know that like fuck all people are watching new seasons of The Simpsons now, but they just keep it running because like it's such a cash cow. You know, like, it's nowhere near the level that it used to be, but it still makes just enough money to justify its existence because it's iconic. A lot of the money being pumped into The Simpsons right now won't even be revenue from people watching the actual show. It'll be from, like, licensing agreements and merch sales and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It won't even be from the actual show.
It's just iconic and therefore valuable.
And I could see the same thing happening to Rick and Morty, but, like, I think the difference is The Simpsons' golden period, or like what most people view as its golden period, lasted a lot longer, so was able to leave much more of an impression, whereas Rick and Morty's wasn't anywhere near as long. And when it entered its slump, people got pissed off at it pretty quickly. So I have a feeling, so it's not really the same kettle of fish. It's an interesting thing to think about, though.
Rick and Morty's been around for a long time when you think about it, though. Like, there were some long hiatuses between seasons.
Oh, next year the show is a decade old. How mad is that?
Yeah, like, that doesn't even feel right to me. And I feel like that might be a big part of, like, what this inconsistency between how people view Rick and Morty. The writers have aged, and so have we.
Well, it's not even just the writers aging. It's also, like, well, for that same reason, the influxes of new writers and old writers leaving to go on, like, older projects. But I don't even know if it's necessarily, like, similar to The Simpsons, where it's, like, the old writers who really understood the magic of the show left and were replaced by people who, like, didn't really get it and were, like, trying to keep this husk of a thing alive. Because here's the thing. We all know from, like,
because Justin Roiland is still there, and this is his brainchild.
Yeah, it's not like all the old showrunners left and got replaced by all new ones. There's plenty of the original crew left, but also, like, we know, like, from watching some recent episodes that every now and again you'll get a new writer in who really does get it. Like, there have been some gold standard episodes since those first couple of seasons. There's been plenty of them.
Case in point, Analyze Piss.
I'm assuming from that like you really don't have anything else to say about format.
Please. I just want to talk about how fucking amazing this episode was. We were harping on it ever since the fucking, like, a title's leaked, but Analyze Piss might be a #1 contender.
Right, we're gonna very, very quickly sum up Full Metal Jackrick before we move to Analyze Piss. So Full Metal Jackrick,
very well.
Fun ride, but in trying so desperately to leave some kind of lasting impression, completely fails to leave any kind of long-lasting impression because it's just too much at once. Nothing is taken to its full potential, and it just kind of end up being a wet fart of an episode that, while enjoyable, just didn't really stand very well on its own, to be honest.
And I feel most importantly fucked up about it is the lack of continuity and consistency in the actual plot writing wise made it very difficult to process as a viewer. Once again, retcon, built up as the new big bad villain, disappears from the story. He's out of nowhere. Yeah, he shows up, escapes, it's like, this place was always an orange, and now I'm gone. He just fucks off.
Literally.
We don't even see him fucking off. The old man just shows up and he's gone.
Yep.
Did the old man kill him? I don't know, maybe.
Yep, that's thoughts on Full Metal Jackrick sum up. So, anyway, why in the ever-living shit is the episode called Analyze Piss really fucking good? Why?
I told you before we watched it, George, it was a fake out. They knew, like, they always knew, ever since we started clowning on the horse cum episode, that they had a golden opportunity to name an episode something really, really stupid, leak the episode titles, and then tell us that we were wrong. Like the episode Analyze Piss, their entire motivation was proving us wrong.
I have like a sort of like a theory that kind of expands off of yours, kind of builds up off it a little bit. I do think that you're 100% right. I think they definitely made like the title Analyze Piss because like they knew it would make us like groan and roll our eyes and expect dog shit only to give us gold. I have a feeling that Analyze Piss is like that title is basically they knew that people were going to like be analyzing the fuck out of an episode called that, like to pick apart how shit it is, so they wanted to be like, oh yeah, we'll analyze this, but instead of this it's piss, and then like you know that's the whole thing.
Perfect. Like, it's a great pun.
I do think we're correct. I do think that like obviously they knew that there was you know there's the episode that everyone calls the sperm episode that everyone says is shit, so that's like, so they're gonna be like, all right, let's give them an episode that they think is gonna be the piss episode, only to slap us around the face with what's like, it might be a bit of a hot take, I'm just gonna say it, I think this is another one of those new modern classics for Rick and Morty. I think. No,
100%. Like, this is a certified hood classic. It's beautiful. Look at it. Look at it. Look at Piss Man.
I don't know if I'd say it's my new favorite of the season. I don't quite know if it surpasses episode 1. I'd need more time to think on that, but like maybe it might do.
It comes close. It actually comes close. And I don't think it surpasses it, but it can be talked about in the same breath easily.
Yeah.
Because it's just a really good self-contained story with maybe like, I did roll my eyes a little bit at the therapist returning because it really feels like the writers just, okay, it's a well-established talking point that the writers just don't really get therapy, and therefore like they kind of portray the therapist as this like really bitchy know-it-all like superior person, when that's not how any good therapist would come across to anyone. But also like it's not even the writer's fault, because Rick as a character is kind of incompatible with therapy. He just wouldn't take it at face value, so the only way for the therapist to engage with Rick on Rick's level is to be a fucking like asshole about it. Like, which isn't a very good message regarding therapy, but it's also the only way you can make a therapist work in a story like this with a character like this. So I'll allow it. I'll forgive it. But I'm also not going to praise that specifically, and will instead praise everything else about the episode.
Also the fact that oftentimes they kind of use the therapist to just kind of expunge, you know, the character development that we can see happening and have observed happening on screen, just kind of spell it out to us. But I'm happy to praise the therapist being back here, because I mean, like, rather than just saying, "Oh, this is what's happened with your character," like just spelling it out for the audience. She gives
Mhm.
Rick she gives Rick an honest solution to his problem. We see Rick put it into action, and then coming to terms with the fact that, holy shit, she was right. This shit worked. So I think I can excuse the therapist being here for this episode because she serves a lot more of a purpose than usual.
Yeah, she serves a real purpose, and the conclusions that Rick come to as a result are very hot. They're very sexy. Like, holy shit.
Hmm.
Fucking
So let's get a little bit more general. Give me. I went first last time. Give me some thoughts on your thoughts on this episode. Some stuff you want to call out as being really great. What do you got?
as a self-contained story, amazing. Fucking Rick's entire character arc, once Jerry starts like getting everything that Rick thought he would want, like as a result of any of this, or just let's it's not even what Rick wants, it's just what Rick doesn't want Jerry to have, because Rick fucking hates Jerry, let's be honest.
Hmm.
But the idea that Rick, as he's like realizing just how fucked up these 80s 90s villains are, and
Yeah.
like just seeing everyone vilify him, he starts to relate to them, because like it's like, oh wow, he must be the biggest asshole in the galaxy. He's like, wait, I'm the biggest asshole in the galaxy. And almost in the same vein as the fucking shy pooper episode, like Rick just feels the need to seek out this piss master. So he fucking just whether he's seeking a friend or just someone who he thinks might understand him or who he hopes to understand better, we don't know, because the dude fucking killed himself. And Rick, in an act of weird selflessness, it almost gives me the same vibes as the Crooked Man RPG game, where like the point of the story, spoilers if you haven't played the Crooked Man, the really old RPG horror game, but the kind of the thesis statement of that game is that this man is being haunted by phantoms that are basically just memories from another guy's past, because that guy is lived in his apartment before him and was just as miserable as him. So
Hmm.
it's just a story about two really depressed fucks, and one of them is dead and haunting the other. So
Right.
in the same vein as that, you have Rick seeking out this other unbearable asshole to try and learn something from him, but he's already dead, as was the twist in The Crooked Man. So we have Rick reach the appropriate conclusion to become this dead guy to make his life retroactively better.
Mm-hmm.
And he fucking does.
That's
Rick's healthy therapeutic activity is like righting the wrong that is some random dude he doesn't know his entire life. And that's weirdly wholesome and perfect for Rick's character, because Rick's a little sentimental, and I like that.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with so much of that. And you know what? I'm more than happy for us to never go back to stereotypical, like, our classic Rick and Morty adventures, because we're now getting stuff like this, stuff that like season 6 has very much been the character growth season. I don't know why
Mhm.
Dan Harmon hyped it up as the series that's so like canonical and full of lore and stuff. He should have hyped it up as the season where we really see characters grow into their new forms, because you're 100% right. Rick does something really fucking altruistic here in this episode on, to be fair, multiple things that are really altruistic, and it didn't feel jarring, it didn't feel unearned, it felt like this was what was being built up to, and it was really fucking good. And I'm so glad as well that it was played straight. Like the scene where like we find Pissmaster dead in the bathtub, that could have very easily been played as kind of like a dark humor kind of thing, but no, it was played straight, and because of that, it hit as hard as it needed to. It was tastefully done, really well handled, and like you genuinely do kind of feel the gravity of the situation when it happens, which is what a scene like that really needs in order to make this story work.
Mhm. Yeah, like it's again, like you mentioned it being played straight. It's genuinely kind of haunting how Rick succeeded in bringing him back from the dead, but he had just been dead for too long, so he was literally brain dead and like worthless to him and anyone else. Like, that's really dark.
Yeah.
But it wasn't dark humor. It was just a scene that we were watching.
It was harrowing. Yeah, it was as harrowing as it needed to be, which again, like so many adult cartoons are far too willing to play like dark scenes like that as just it's more dark comedy, but like instead of letting the gravity of the situation hit and feel earned and service the story, which this did masterfully because it really needed to. And like again, the altruistic things that Rick does in this episode, like you've got, he goes to Pissmaster's place to make sure he's okay because he knows that everyone's talking shit about him, like putting him down, and like because he's been used to feeling like the biggest piece of shit in the galaxy for so long, like these 90s villains, he essentially kind of sees it as like they're just trying to pick a fight with him to prove something about themselves, but in reality they're kind of bullying him because they all just think he's, as that one guy put it, just an ugly drunk piece of shit. And so like even though like he's able to cope with it because like he's gotten so used to it, he knows the impact that could have on someone who's not prepared for that, so he goes to see to make sure they're okay, finds that they're dead, and then their daughter comes along and tries to make her feel better and then give Pissmaster a death that will not only redeem him but allow his daughter to live with the fact that he's dead. That's brilliant. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's like it's a proper, like, and it's not treated like, oh, he has to make this up as he goes along. He's like, okay, how can I do this in such a way that will solve the problem? And it really does solve the problem because he can't pretend to be her father forever, but he can give her actual closure, which he does terrifically. And fucking the reveal that it's just Jerry's pettiness that's the real fucking, like, the reveal that Jerry is as petty as Rick was not only satisfying, but extremely earned. Because we've never seen Jerry get this much of a win before.
Yeah.
So, of course it went to his head.
Speaking of Jerry, again, like, I'm talking about this season being the season of character growth. Man, the growth on Jerry, man. Yes, that fight scene was pathetic, but, like, it was awesome. He kicked the dude's ass.
Well,
it was amazing.
Here's the thing. I think, like, okay, hot take, kind of pathetic is the best fight scene ever because it levels the play. Fights are good. Fights are good when it's an even match, all right? And let's think about this for a second, right? Superman versus Darkseid. Darkseid is canonically stronger, but you can't even really tell because both of their punches send the other flying. So you don't really get, like, a good grasp of what, like, of who's stronger and the fight actually progressing. Random homeless person versus other random homeless person. You can see them losing steam as the fight goes on. You can see the battle damage, and you can see pretty clearly which one has the upper hand from a fairly early perspective. Very visible here. The best fights are when the power scaling is slowed down, so you can just see two people scrapping it out. And that's what this was. And fucking Jerry's weirdly competent, like, dodging of Pissmaster's piss. Like,
yeah.
He's just like, yeah, let me just extend my arm and try and spray. Jerry just steps to the side and keeps punching him. Like, bruh.
So good. So good. This episode was, people like back in the day would talk about, oh, Rick and Morty's such a smart show. This was a smart episode. We've seen some dumb episodes. This was a smart episode. Not just all the stuff we've talked about with Rick, but I really enjoy the overlying message of, like, how we treat people who are seen as, like, pariahs, who are seen as jerks, seen as dicks, because, like, you know, it portrays that through Jerry's attitude when, like, you know, the council, the Orb Council, whatever the fuck they're called, are, like, talking about possibly recruiting Pissmaster after his redemption, and Jerry's like, you know, who cares? It's Pissmaster. He's a dick. Like, because of that one interaction, you know, this guy is forever condemned to be a dick. I don't want to use this term, but, like, it's related to, you know, quote-unquote cancel culture, you know, in that sort of sense. And, like, to be fair, it's true that attitude of, like, once a dick, always a dick, no one can ever be redeemed, like, once you've shown you're a prick, like, that's how you'll always be. And if enough people do end up seeing you as that, that is a thought process that can very much kill people. Like, what we saw happen to Pissmaster will have happened in real life. Like, something of someone will have gone viral, and like everyone will have deemed them a prick, not worthy of anyone's time or attention, and it will have got to them. They wouldn't have been able to prep for it, and they probably would have taken themselves out. That is a very, very real situation, and I'm
It's that
glad.
one episode of iCarly, but more realistic.
And I'm glad the episode, like, because the whole cancel culture debate is a whole, like, kettle of fish that I don't want to, like, delve into too deeply right now, but I'm glad the episode was willing to show that very real side of that and how it can affect real people. Because for the most part, what people call cancel culture is just the consequences of your actions. You know, if you do
Yeah.
something that's prickish and you be a prick, and enough people see it, then those people, sometimes en masse, are gonna call you a prick. That's just consequences of your actions. It's not about, like, condemning people for all eternity. It's about, like, wanting to see that change, that growth. And a lot of the people who complain about cancel culture don't want to show that growth, show that change, and make change for the better.
Mm.
They just think, no, it's not me, it's them that's the problem. And I'm glad the
Fistmaster just
episode.
wanted to prove him wrong.
Yeah, I'm glad, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Is that I'm glad the episode had an honest and fair depiction of that. Is what I'm saying. Again, whoever wrote this episode, guys, have them write more, because this was so good, so smart, and so thoughtful, and just the fact that we're gushing about the episode called "Analyze Piss." How did this happen, Sarek? How did we get here?
I told you, George, they knew what they were doing. It was a trap. We activated their trap card.
You know what? I have a feeling that these two episodes were kind of meant to be in a package of two, because it's like, like they had the kind of theme in Full Meta JackRick where it's like, with the writers and like writers like just doing whatever they want to do rather than trying to please everyone. So like they've got the episode before where it's like, the quote unquote trying to please everyone episode where they do like the whole all the meta gags, ain't this cool, ain't this clever. And then they have the episode right after that, which is a writer just doing what they want to do, telling their own self-contained story, and then going, analyze piss then. I mean this then.
Yeah, that one. It's perfect.
Again, maybe I'm reaching here, but I have a feeling that was the intent, and if so, again, like, very nice, applause.
They knew what they were doing, George. They knew the entire time. It's why they were making piss jokes leading up to the season. They knew that we would be ready to tear the episode apart, and they were prepared. It was all a trap, all of it.
Very risky play though, because for a fact that will have turned some people off and been like, right, no, I'm not watching this season because of that. So very risky play.
Well, those people would be the ones missing out. It's high risk, but it's very high reward as well, because then you get to make fun of those people and then force them, bully them into watching the season because they were wrong.
Specifically this episode though, I guess.
This one, exactly.
And also, one thing I want to know your thoughts on is that ending, though. Obviously Rick opens up to Morty, tells him, I wasn't actually Pissmaster the whole time, like everyone thinks I was. Again, very altruistic of Rick, just gonna let everyone think that he was Pissmaster the whole time. Tells him, and then Morty's like, no, I'm not bearing this burden, goes and tells everyone, and it just ends on the shouting match. Like, what did you think?
Well, I thought that was it was an interesting take on the story trope of, oh, I'm going to carry, like, it's what Summer said. No, you got to carry the secret on your own. That's the cool guy way to do it. But that's not the truth. And like humans naturally would need to share it with at least one person because we're social creatures. So it's like, it's a realistic answer to how that trope usually goes in stories. And yeah, it ends in a big ass shouting match, and it's like toxic as fuck. But that's because the family's toxic as fuck. It's just fucking like, bruh.
Yeah.
Yes, Pissmaster was always a dick because all that cool shit that Rick did was just Rick, and Rick was being pretty cool about it. But in reality, that's not how it would work. Rick would tell someone, and that someone would probably tell the rest, and then it's just what happens when you lie. Lies unravel. It's basically just the thesis statement of The Dark Knight Rises condensed into one scene where the noble lie completely falls apart, and as a result, the city almost gets nuked.
Interesting. I'll tell you what, let's have a look at what else Ray was saying. I think it's think it's weird to do that because personally, if I write a story, it would hurt my own head to just delete stuff from it over time or ditch those ideas. It's very weird, but you got to remember that obviously this is a multiple writer crew, but then again, counterpoint to that, then surely there'd be communication between them, you know?
Yeah, you'd think.
I don't know if shoots are multiple writers or they are not attached to those ideas anymore after taking a break from seasons. I mean, yeah, maybe. Like, you never really know what's going on behind the scenes with the show, like what the writers' thought processes are, but the only thought process I want to make sure that I inject into there is to have whoever wrote Analyze Piss write more.
Yeah, just give them the wheel.
I think it's weird to write people like idiots to make your character smarter. Yep, definitely. 100%. God, people just want characters that earn growth, but it can be hard, especially when you have characters like Rick who are supposed to have a certain exterior. That is true. Like, with Rick being the smartest man in the universe and being as arrogant as he is, when it comes to his growth and his depth, there wasn't really anywhere else you could go but down, because obviously this is a man who has everything, can do everything, can get anything for himself. So the only real place you could really go with him is to soften those edges and turn him into a more altruistic character. So when it comes to our development, it's never going to really be about that destination. It's more going to be about the journey and the stops along the way. And ones like this, like episodes like this, like Analyze Piss, are the ones that are going to make that journey the most worth it.
Yeah. It shows us what Rick can be when he's put in a very specific situation. And that gives us a glimmer of hope of what he can be consistently if given the right motivation.
I'm curious to know, we've absolutely, like, filleted this episode to no end. Is it perfect? Are there any errors that you can think of? Any criticisms?
Again, literally just how they handled the therapist, which is pretty consistent with like how they handled the therapist last time. But again, you were never going to have a good conversation between Rick and an actual therapist. So this was really the only way they could have written it. So I forgive it. Therefore, Hood classic.
Nah, yeah, it's definitely a new Rick and Morty classic. I'm not gonna argue with that. I feel like for me this episode is season 6's Vat of Acid episode, where it plays everything completely straight, lets the characters just be the characters playing off each other in that situation, and just lets all the beats hit. Like, it just one of those episodes where everything just runs as naturally as it would, and it effectively just writes itself.
I was actually going to say that, like, this episode feels like that one sequence from the Vat of Acid episode where they just gave the animator 6 minutes to animate whatever they want and made that its own full episode. Because it really is just a beautiful story told with very, very few, like, lulls in the story itself.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. That sequence in the Vat of Acid episode was beautiful. And we just got a whole episode like that had an actual proper plot with ups and downs. That's nothing to scoff at.
Absolutely not. No, definitely not.
Like, holy shit. This might be the best episode. Again, I don't know if it surpasses fucking the first one, because the first one was amazing, but the first one was always going to be amazing. Like, this might be the best mid-season episode.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that it took all the way until like episode 8 of 10 to get an episode that could stand up to the premiere. That's kind of.
But to be fair, that was probably always going to be the case, just because they had to put their best foot forward.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this with Jay in the last one, where it was like, season 6 has been a lot more consistent in quality, but it hasn't really, like, it's been good, but it hasn't really hit any crazy highs or any crazy lows. Whereas season 5, like, I think the first 3 episodes of that season, well, I say more like the first 2.5, because I really don't like the B plot of the episode with Morty and Planetina, but a lot of people think that the first 3 episodes can really all stand up together, and then it has that mid-season slump. And then, like, the last 3 episodes of that season also end really strong. Whereas this, it's like we had a really great premiere, then a good few episodes that were, like, ranged from okay to good to alright to whatever. And then this really good one and we've got another 2 episodes to go. So maybe we'll end on a strong trilogy again. But I'm not sure if I'm hopeful of that. Honestly, if I can speak honestly, I have a feeling that the next couple of episodes, I mean, just call it wow, what's the word? Just call it a hunch. But I just have a feeling that the last couple episodes, including the finale, are kind of just going to be more of, yeah, it's pretty good, but didn't really do all that much for me, you know?
I'm filled with hope. I am cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
If they can pull the wool over our eyes, the carpet out from under us, just really... If they can make Analyze Piss a number 2 contender, possibly even number 1 contender... God damn it. If they can make Analyze Piss a number 1 contender, then I believe they can stick the landing for the season.
I mean, I guess we'll have to see.
Analyze Piss is number 1.
It's so strange because normally each of these streams have gone like over an hour, and this is the episode that we're gushing about, and we've only just reached the 50-minute mark. It's kind of mad.
There's not a lot else to say. I mean, we could break it, like, we could go through the episode like few minutes by few minutes and really break down everything that we like, but I feel like all of our notes, all of our thoughts have been expressed. Like,
pretty much, yeah. I mean, you kind of do find that though. You do kind of find
Ray, what the fuck? Ray, what the fuck? I thought we left those stereotypes in the early 2000s. Come on, man.
Thinking about making a little limited animated series. Oh, that could be awesome. That could be. I didn't know you could animate. I kind of can too, sort of, pretty decently well. But that's awesome. Probably have friends do voices. Ooh, have writers who are passionate, aka free, aka free, and animate everything myself. Well, I mean, again, as someone who's done a decent amount of animation, as long as you're aware that that shit takes time. Like, animating is hard and very time consuming. George can play a bad guy given he's British. I mean, look, I've been doing voice acting for Matt's video. For the viewers, that's Kibo. He's releasing a video on Azura's Wrath, like, at some point, and it's going to be absolutely bomb. And I've voice acted in that, and in both of those cases, I'm pretty sure I played bad guys, and they're really fun to voice. So, you know what? Like, I'm down.
Can I be a bad guy as well? Can I be George's bad guy partner? Come on. You know you want me, Ray.
God damn it. But what was I going to say? Yeah, you do often find that when it comes to the episodes that you have a lot more negative to say about than positive, those are the ones that you do end up talking about way more. So I'm honestly not surprised, like, because when something's bad, you can pick apart like all the different reasons why it's bad, but when it's good, you're just like, no, it's just really good. I really enjoyed it.
When it's good, sometimes the only thing you can say is just, great script, please write more. Now let me push you down this flight of stairs.
God, but yeah, unless you do have anything more to like say or point out, I think we honestly, even though again we are sub-hour on the time, we might just be done here.
I'd be down. Fuck it.
Down
also, aw.
Down as in down to finish.
Ray Mag thinks I'm too nice to be a bad guy.
Man, you've got no idea. What
weirdly wholesome.
Like. You've no idea what this guy's like. In private,
you don't know who I am, Ray. I am not in danger, Ray Mag. I am the danger.
We've talked about him a lot because of how much he's talked in chat. You know what? Everyone go check out Ray Mag. He's very cool. He makes watch-along videos with pals on Scooby-Doo. He's become weirdly obsessed with Scooby-Doo, but I mean, hey, it's
he just is the Scooby-Doo guy, and you know what? He deserves all of your love. He deserves all of your algorithmic juices, so pump him full of them.
Actually, no, don't, because Ray, where the fuck's the video we made with you, the open season video? Because I swear to God, if you made us sit through that movie for no fucking reason with nothing to come out of it, like...
You know, George, I wasn't going to say it because we're live on stream, but damn, you know, now that you've said it, Ray, what the fuck, man? Where are we at?
I swear to God, Ray, that something better come of that. I don't want to have just... I don't want to have just sat through that video for nothing, for no reason. I swear to God.
Also, having said that, Ray, I'd be okay with losing this video, but if you ever do Scooby-Doo versus Batman, if you ever do that movie, I demand to be a part of it, lending my expertise in the genre.
We've gone very off track. I think it's time to end the stream.
Yeah, no, it's definitely time to end the stream. Like
All right.
I feel like we've made our point.
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Then let me in, Ray.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody who, like all 2 people who tuned in, and thanks to all the people who'll be watching after the fact for doing so. It's very appreciated. Obviously, as usual, Zarek's channel is in the description. We'll be getting to episode 9, hopefully later this week, and then hopefully sometime after that, we'll obviously do the season finale. Hoping to get Jay back on for the finale, but we're not going to make any promises because obviously nothing's guaranteed. So, anything?
Uno reverse card. Get Ray on for the finale.
Ray, Jay, yeah, it works. Anything else?
Perfect.
Want to throw in before I hit end stream?
Analyze piss is number 1.
I can't disagree with that. I was very, very blown away by how amazing this episode was. Rick and Morty, do more episodes like this. Get this writer to write more. It's good.
Give us more
shit.
piss.
It's good. It's good shit. We want it. We want more of it.
Give us more piss to analyze.
Exactly. Exactly what I meant by that statement.
I can't believe this.
Alrighty. Goodbye, everybody. Bye. Have a beautiful time. Alright.